On September 8, 2025, Beijing staged a military parade that stunned the world. The city's heart, Tiananmen Square, became the stage for a spectacle that captured the attention of millions, both in China and across the globe. This was more than a commemoration. It was a bold statement of intent, a demonstration of national pride and unity, and a message to the world that China's ambitions are only growing stronger. Under flawless blue skies, thousands of soldiers marched in perfect unison, their discipline and power unmistakable. Every step, every salute, was a testament to years of rigorous training and unwavering loyalty to the nation. Tanks, missile launchers, and cutting-edge military hardware rolled past Tiananmen Square, showcasing China's latest advancements. The sheer scale of the display left no doubt about the country's growing military capabilities. The event marked the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II, but its focus was the future. It was a reminder of past sacrifices, yet also a clear signal of China's vision for the decades ahead. Hypersonic missiles and swarms of drones signaled a leap in military technology, hinting at capabilities designed to outpace U.S. defenses. These innovations suggested a new era of warfare, where speed and precision are paramount. President Xi Jinping, presiding over the spectacle, declared that no force could shake China's foundation. His presence underscored the unity between the nation's leadership and its military might. His speech, broadcast worldwide, was backed by the overwhelming display of military might. The world watched as his words echoed across the square, amplified by the thunder of marching boots and rumbling tanks. The message, China is ready to lead on the global stage. The parade was a declaration of confidence, signaling a readiness to shape the future of international affairs. For Western viewers, the parade was a wake-up call, a sign that the era of uncontested American dominance may be ending. The images broadcast around the world sparked debate and concern in capitals from Washington to Brussels. The sheer scale and sophistication of the equipment forced a difficult question. Is the U.S. losing its edge? Military analysts and policymakers began to reassess the global balance of power in light of China's rapid progress. The parade was not just a show of force, but a declaration of ambition. It was a signal to the world that China intends to play a leading role in shaping the future, both militarily and politically. It was a visual reminder that the global balance of power is shifting. The world's eyes were fixed on Beijing, watching as history unfolded in real time. The world watched, and the implications were impossible to ignore. From Asia to Europe, leaders and citizens alike recognized that a new chapter in global affairs was beginning. A new era had begun. The dawn over Tiananmen Square marked not just the end of a parade, but the start of a transformed world order. The guest list at Beijing's parade told its own story. Russian President Vladimir Putin sat beside Xi, a clear sign of deepening ties. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's presence marked a dramatic shift, signaling India's willingness to engage with this emerging bloc. Leaders from Brazil, South Africa, and a high-level North Korean delegation reinforced the image of a united front among major non-Western powers. This was not just diplomatic theater, it was the unveiling of a new geopolitical reality. The absence of Western leaders spoke volumes, highlighting a widening divide. The gathering represented a significant share of the world's population and economic power. These nations weren't just spectators, they were shaping a new global framework. The event marked the rise of an alternative to the American-led system. The world is no longer unipolar. Beijing's parade was the coming-out party for a new alliance. The global order is being rewritten. The parade was a masterclass in political messaging. China's display of advanced weaponry was a direct signal to the US and its allies. China is now a peer competitor. By hosting leaders from Russia, India, and others, Beijing positioned itself as the center of a new coalition. President Xi emerged as the convener of this bloc, offering a model of international relations distinct from the American approach. For Chinese citizens, the event was a source of immense national pride, reinforcing the Communist Party's narrative of national rejuvenation. The parade was a declaration. The world is no longer unipolar. China is building its own table and inviting others to join. The rules of the game are changing. China is now powerful enough to help write them. To understand India's prominent role in Beijing, look to recent US foreign policy. America's transactional approach and trade wars have pushed even longtime partners to seek new alliances. India, valuing strategic autonomy, began hedging its bets as US policies grew unpredictable. Russia, isolated by Western sanctions, turned decisively toward China, deepening their partnership. What began as convenience has become a strategic alliance, with joint military exercises and coordinated diplomacy. Even traditional U.S. allies felt the strain from tariffs and shifting priorities. These rifts created openings for China to present itself as a more stable partner. The Beijing Parade was the culmination of these trends, a coalition forged by the unintended consequences of American policy. Nations found more common ground with each other than with Washington. The global landscape has shifted. The Beijing gathering marked the solidification of a new military axis, signaling a dramatic shift in the global order. The world watched as old alliances were tested and new partnerships emerged on the grand stage. At its core, China, the Dragon, and Russia, the Bear, are now sharing intelligence, technology, and conducting joint exercises. Russia brings decades of military expertise and battlefield experience, while China contributes its vast industrial capacity and technological innovation. Together, they are forging a partnership that is both strategic and pragmatic. India, the Tiger, adds a new dimension to this axis, even as it navigates complex border disputes with China. Its presence complicates the equation, making the bloc more unpredictable and dynamic. India's military, heavily equipped with Russian systems, is increasingly interoperable with both partners. This deep military integration allows for greater coordination and rapid response in times of crisis. Together, these nations form a formidable Eurasian power bloc, stretching from the Pacific to the heart of Europe, commanding immense resources and manpower. This isn't a formal alliance like NATO, but a flexible alignment based on shared interests, chiefly checking American power and influence across the globe. Their focus is clear: countering U.S. strengths in air, sea, space, and cyberspace while developing new capabilities to challenge Western dominance. The U.S. now faces the prospect of a coordinated challenge from multiple major powers, forcing American strategists to rethink old assumptions. American military dominance, once taken for granted, is no longer assured in this new era of great power competition. The China-Russia-India alignment forces a complete rethink of U.S. defense strategy, demanding new approaches and alliances. A united Eurasian bloc could concentrate force in its own backyard, gaining a strategic edge and reshaping the balance of power. The balance of power is shifting east, ushering in a new chapter in global geopolitics, one where Eurasia stands at the center of world affairs. The parade's drone formations signaled a new era in warfare, showcasing not just technological prowess, but also the sheer scale at which China can operate. These displays are more than just spectacles. They are statements of intent, demonstrating how the future battlefield is being reshaped by swarms of autonomous machines. China is mass-producing drones of all sizes, leveraging its vast industrial might to deploy them at an unprecedented scale. From tiny reconnaissance quadcopters to large weaponized UAVs, the country's factories are churning out these machines at a pace the world has never seen before. Unlike the US, which focuses on expensive, high-end systems, China can field swarms of affordable drones, overwhelming even the most sophisticated defenses with sheer numbers. This strategy could fundamentally change the balance of power in any future conflict. In a future conflict, the US could face the unsustainable prospect of using million-dollar missiles against $10,000 drones, a mismatch that could quickly drain resources and tip the scales in China's favor. China's manufacturing advantage extends far beyond drones, encompassing ships, planes, and missiles, and allowing it to outpace US production rates across the board. Its shipyards launch new warships faster than any other nation, rapidly expanding its naval power and presence in contested waters. In a prolonged conflict, China could replace losses far more quickly than the US, maintaining its fighting strength while others struggle to keep up. The technological edge America once enjoyed is eroding, as China closes the gap and, in some areas, even surpasses its rivals. In some areas, like drones and hypersonic weapons, China may be pulling ahead, setting new benchmarks for speed, agility, and innovation on the battlefield. The parade was a stark reminder: military power now depends on industrial capacity as much as technology. The ability to build, deploy, and replace equipment at scale is becoming just as important as having the latest innovations. The calculus of power in Asia is changing, as nations reassess their strategies in response to China's growing capabilities and industrial dominance. China's ability to produce at scale could prove decisive, shaping not just the outcome of future conflicts but the very nature of global power itself. While military might was on display, a quieter revolution is underway in global finance. For decades, the US dollar has been the world's reserve currency, granting America immense power. But the nations gathered in Beijing are building alternatives. BRICS countries have launched their own financial institutions and are developing payment systems that bypass US-controlled networks. The goal, a financial architecture immune to American sanctions. China and Russia are leading efforts to de-dollarize, with major oil producers considering accepting other currencies. If oil is priced in yuan or a currency basket, the dollar's dominance could erode. This won't happen overnight, but the process has begun. A world with multiple reserve currencies would weaken America's economic leverage. Combined with military and technological shifts, this financial challenge is profound. The parade symbolized the military dimension, but the financial front may prove even more consequential. The global order is being challenged on every front. Will September 8, 2025 be remembered as a turning point? The Beijing parade crystallized trends: China's rise, Russia's resurgence, India's realignment, and America's relative decline. The unipolar era is over. A new, more complex world has emerged. Two competing blocs are forming, one led by the US, the other by China and Russia. The risk of miscalculation and conflict is rising. America now faces a peer competitor with the power to challenge it globally. This moment demands a fundamental rethinking of US strategy and alliances. The parade was not just a show of force, but a vision of a future where Beijing sits at the center of power. The world has changed, and the road ahead is uncertain.